Title: HOA built 12 villas on my property. I let them finish construction, then brought the deed to court. When I first saw the heavy machinery roll into my land at the sound of bulldozers tearing through the soil, I'd grown up walking barefoot on I thought it had to be a mistake. But then I saw the HOA sign, big and proud, with glossy blue letters reading "Future Site of Meadow Ridge Villas." That's when my stomach dropped, because I, Jacob Turner, was still the legal owner of that land. It wasn't just a piece of property to me, it was my late father's legacy, a 40 acres of oak-dotted pasture, tucked quietly behind a sleepy suburban neighborhood. My father bought it after returning from the Navy, and every inch of it carried a story. The fence he built by hand, the old barn where we fixed up tractors, the little pond where I caught my first fish. After his passing, I couldn't bring myself to sell it. It was all I had left of him. So imagine my disbelief when, one morning, I found concrete being poured right in the middle of it. I parked my truck and stormed over to the site. A construction foreman, clipboard in hand, looked up at me like I was interrupting his coffee break. "Can I help you, sir?" he asked. "Yeah," I snapped. "You can start by telling me what the hell you're doing on my land." He frowned, then looked back at his paperwork. According to the home, this lot was cleared for residential development, Phase 3 of Meadow Ridge. That name again, Meadow Ridge. I'd seen their signs popping up nearby, a growing neighborhood with manicured lawns and cookie-cutter homes. I never imagined they'd mistake my land for theirs. But that was the problem, they hadn't mistaken it. When I went to the county records office, I found something that made my blood boil. The HOA president, a man named Richard Sloan, had somehow managed to file a transfer of title for my land 6 months earlier, a fraudulent one. My father's old signature forged. The paperwork looked official, but I knew every curl and line of my dad's handwriting. It wasn't his. I hired a lawyer, but she told me the process would take time, months, maybe years. In the meantime, construction would continue. "You could file an injunction," she said, "but it'll cost you. They'll drag it out in court, and by the time it's done, your land will be ruined." So, I made a decision, a quiet one. I'd let them build every villa, every brick, every driveway. I wouldn't stop them. I'd wait until they were done, until the HOA and their smug president had poured every last dollar into it. Then, I'd take it all back. It took almost a year. I drove by occasionally, keeping my distance. What used to be an open field became a bustling construction site. Soon, 12 luxury villas stood where the old barn used to be. They had fancy stone facades, automatic gates, and driveways lined with imported trees. I watched the families move in, smiling, proud of their new homes. I felt sorry for them. They didn't know they were living on stolen ground. When the ribbon-cutting ceremony came, Richard Sloan stood at the podium in his tailored suit, boasting about community growth and responsible development. Cameras flashed, and the local news covered it. I stood in the crowd, silent. That night, I took my father's old deed, the original, notarized and verified, and walked onto my lawyer's office. "Let's bring it to court," I said. The legal battle was long, bitter, and public. The HOA threw everything they had at me, lawyers, counterclaims, fake witnesses, but the truth has a way of standing firm when you do. Forensic handwriting experts confirmed the signature was forged. County clerks admitted that transfer had been rushed through by a friend in the office. Richard Sloan's smirk vanished the day the judge banged his gavel. Ownership of the property in question, the judge declared, is hereby restored to Jacob Turner. All structures built thereupon are legally his. The courtroom went silent. I could see the shock ripple through the whole board members. 12 luxury villas, each worth nearly $500,000, now legally belong to me. After the ruling, reporters called me a vindictive genius for letting them finish construction before going to court. But that wasn't my intention. I didn't want revenge, I wanted justice. And I wanted them to understand that land isn't just dirt and boundaries, it's legacy, it's family. In the weeks that followed, chaos hit the Meadow Ridge home. Richard was arrested for fraud and lost everything. The residents who had bought homes on my land were devastated, and honestly, I felt for them. They were victims too. I could have sold the villas at market price and made millions, but I didn't. Instead, I met with each family individually. I told them they could stay under fair new contracts, directly through me. No HOA fees, no corruption, just neighbors living peacefully. Some cried, some hugged me, a few even helped me rebuild my father's old barn at the edge of the property, as a symbol of what it once was and what it could become again. A year later, the land looked different, but it felt the same. The laughter of kids playing outside reminded me of when I was one of them. The pond sparkled again, the oaks stood tall, and my father's name was back on the deed. Sometimes, when I sit on the porch of my little farmhouse, watching the sunset paint those villas in gold, I can't help but smile. Because justice didn't just win in court, that won in spirit. You see, power and greed may build walls and roofs, but only truth builds something that lasts. And as long as I breathe, no one will ever steal that land or its legacy again.